Hey, people.
What's
Whoever
going
is in the
on,
chat.
Concrete? Girl, nobody here yet. Mac had left a comment. I think that was from earlier, but that was earlier. So it's just me and you. How's everything going?
I'm sure people will file in shortly. Someone was even telling me, I think it was Leo, that he was looking forward to the stream because this is a hot topic. But before we get into that, how was your Christmas?
It was absolutely fantastic. It was probably one of the best Christmases I've had since my mom passed. Um,
Aw.
Girl, it was really, really wonderful. We spent Christmas with Curlin's family, and his family is real, real dope. So we had a great time. I got some good presents,
Uh-oh.
and yeah, honey, it was just really nice. So I was really excited. Had
Aw.
a lot of fun. So yeah, I didn't make it on the naughty list this year. So
Well, good. Try to stay off of that.
yeah, how
Um,
was yours?
My Christmas was really good. So, my fiance, he doesn't celebrate Christmas. Like usually we will exchange gifts because, I grew up celebrating Christmas, but this year we were like, okay, we're not going to exchange gifts. We literally are not going to celebrate. He does, celebrate Kwanzaa, but he doesn't celebrate Christmas. So,
Okay.
but of course I have two daughters, so I, cooked and I did brunch and the girls came over and we still exchanged gifts. And even though we weren't supposed to be celebrating Christmas, I bought him gifts and he felt some type of way because he's like, "You said we weren't celebrating Christmas." I'm like, "Well, I mean, I still wanted to get you some stuff." So he felt slighted because that was not the agreement. But um,
Yes.
nonetheless, I had a really good time with my daughters. And it was just like really dope. I loved it.
Yeah, so that's what's up. I'm glad you had a good Christmas.
I surely did. Are you
So,
looking forward to the new year? Well, to New
yes,
Year's Eve, I guess.
I'm looking forward to all of it. Curlin
Hmm.
is here, so we'll be spending
Okay.
Our first New Year's together. This was our first Christmas together, so it was really nice.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that. That's dope.
yeah. So
You
I'm
know what? I used
really,
to.
go ahead.
I was like, my family's from Mississippi, so like we were heavy into superstitions. So I used to like my ex. It used to be like a thing. I remember like even the first year we started dating, like we had to spend New Year's together because the superstition, whoever you with, end up with. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, child.
Yeah. So I used to be like a stickler, like, we have to be together at midnight. And just
And you weren't going for anything else. I know that's right.
look, nothing. There was no excuse. If you got to work, you better take off, call in. Like it was silly, but it was like I'm still a big believer of superstitions. Like my fiance be looking at me crazy, like if you don't go on with that backwoods. I'm like, no, this is true. You have to, abide by it, whatever it is. So just little crazy
Right.
things that we pick up from our family.
Yeah, we'll have to really get off into that one day because I got some ones that I am a real big stickler for.
Yeah,
And
we'll have to
so,
talk about it because I'm interested to hear. I want to know if they're like ones that I've heard of and that I kind of subscribe to. So we'll have to talk about it one day.
okay, okay. So let's get off into this topic. What's going
Yes,
on, child?
SYSBW. What about it? That is SYSBM is a hot topic in Black YouTube right now. I mean, everywhere, every panel that I clicked on, live panel that I clicked on, listened to a little bit, I heard something about it. So it is really, really hot. But we're not talking about the Black men saving themselves. We're talking about the sisters saving themselves. So this is a different take on it. And I think we're going to
Mm,
go somewhere else with it. So we are not,
yeah.
it's unlikely that we'll be repeating stuff that you've heard on other panels because we're talking about the sisters saving themselves.
Now, who would you say that the sisters are saving themselves from, honey? Who are we
Well,
saving ourselves from?
let me say this. when we decided on this topic, I did quite a bit of research. Like I was all over the place researching SYSBM because I knew what the acronym stood for. I knew men who subscribed to
Oh,
the ideologies, but I wanted to know more. So in my research, I just to kind of give a little background, in my research, I found that it was the originator was Mad Bus Driver, which I didn't know that. Now I have heard that name mentioned by some people within the manosphere, but I didn't know much about him. So I, looked up different hashtags. I looked at the pages on different social media sites that were associated with it. It took me to a lot of defunct sites, like Mad Bus Driver. I think there was a site that was that he ran at some point that is no longer up. And then there was also like some sites that just were SYSBM that were no longer up. But like the hashtag, I saw that everywhere. And most of what I saw attached to it was um, rhetoric that was negative about Black women. It seemed to me like the SYSBM movement is in reference to them saving themselves specifically from Black women. There
mm-hmm.
was a whole lot of pictures of, Black men with women of other races and, promoting that, promoting interracial dating and saying, that that's a better option. Hey, brothers, if you want to be happy, choose this. And a whole bunch of that nonsense. They were focusing solely on the downfalls of Black women, on the segment of the population that happened to be ratchet and happened to do ratchet things,
Mm-hmm.
and they were lumping us all together and saying that basically that portion of the population represents the collective. There was no talk about the trauma that many of these issues derive from. They kind of ignored like the healing that also needs to take place on their side, which I didn't expect to see too much accountability. And I want to say this, and I'll shut up. I didn't find an actual mission statement, but while listening to Ren's panel earlier today, I did hear someone say that there's an actual mission statement on Baba Tunde's site. I did not go
Okay.
there because I didn't have time to look it up, but I looked at like an interview with Mad Bus Driver, and he was kind of pushing some of that same rhetoric. He was, I mean, like talking about the deplorable actions of Black women, and he was saying that thinking Black men should leave Black women because they're dysfunctional and destructive, and this, that, and the other. And he was kind of promoting like dating outside of your race, and that's what I took to be the mission statement. But when I listened to BGS's panel early this morning, it was a little bit enlightening, and I didn't catch all of his panel. I just caught
Right. It was
maybe
it
about
was it was a
45
long
minutes.
panel, honey. It was long.
Yeah. So he did say,
Yeah.
now he kind of enlightened me a little bit because he was saying some different things. He was talking about like the pursuit of happiness for Black men, and he was also talking about making the Black community better. And I have some questions surrounding that. But back to your question, I just wanted to give a little bit of background. You were asking
Wow.
who.
Wait a minute. Speaking of BGS, he's here. Thank you so,
Oh
so,
wow.
so
Oh
much
no.
for giving me a shout out and even acknowledging what I said. Um, we were it's kind of funny because that day I was supposed to be headed to Atlanta and Curlin's cussing me out like, damn it, get here. And I'm on panels talking shit. So I'm glad it was worth something. So thank you so much for promoting our channel as well, BGS. We really, really
Absolutely.
appreciate
That was like super dope. BGS always shows love, and I have a lot of respect for BGS. So, I was appreciative of him definitely shouting us out, and he had some positive things to say about our channel and us, and I was like, super thankful for that. But, like I said, I was a little bit enlightened from the little bit that I did hear from him about the movement. But you were asking who Black women are saving themselves from.
it. Right.
And to me, the way that I answer that question is I think Black women need to ensure that they are not left, wallowing in dysfunction. If there's a mass exodus of Black men that are exiting the community, I think that we need to make sure that the women and children are not left wallowing in dysfunction, wallowing in, despair. So, to answer that question from my perspective, I feel like the way that we save ourselves as Black women is by focusing on self improvement, by focusing on healing our traumas and things of that nature. And I have some more, but I want to give you a chance to kind of chime in, and then I'll come back and add a little bit more.
Okay. So when we initially came up with this topic, I had just did the Obsidian panel. And so I was reluctant to do this topic because I'm like, okay, if Black men are saving themselves, and so my whole thought process, okay, um, they're dealing with a lot of dysfunctional women, a lot of crazy bitches, mean women, women who just really don't give a damn. And so then, looking at the flip side of that, I had to kind of come in and really look at what was some of the what am I trying to say? Like some of the foundation that's led to a lot of this, right? And so then I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it and I'm saying, okay, you have dysfunctional Black women, then you have simps. And so then I really thought about it. I'm like, okay, so you got a lot of simps. And I kind of feel like Black women should save themselves from simps. Simps do cause a lot of destruction within our community. And Pookie, contrary to popular belief,
Good
Pookies and
point. Good
Ray
point.
can
That's a good
actually
one.
be simps. And so, then I'll start to go into the psychology of that. And to give y'all a little bit of my background, I've kind of studied incels for a very long time. Like I've studied incels for about 6 years now. And so looking at their pathology and understanding some of their pathology, then it was looking at really taking a look at women and our pathology and the shit that we do and the stuff that we condone and the problems that have never been corrected on either side. And so, then we kind of got off into this. So here we are.
And as you guys, Danielle, that was excellent. That is a very good point. And as you guys can see, like we do our independent research. We don't necessarily confer regarding our talking points. We want it literally to be natural. But like that is a real good point, sis. Like saving yourselves from, the bad mistakes that you've been making over and over that have led us to this point, from the simps, from the Pookie and Ray Rays, if from the ills of our community, as opposed to getting with them, bearing children with them, being left standing with your children alone, having to depend on the government or having to depend on family to step in and help. Save yourself from dealing with that by wisening up, by reaching out to elders and speaking to and taking the wisdom in of your grandmothers and your great grandmothers, by looking at the people in your life that have made those same mistakes if you have not, and making sure that you don't go down that same road. That was actually a dope point. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of get off into some of the psychology behind the simps. And what I noticed was, okay, with the psychologies of the simps, a lot of these men really just want women to be nice to them, right? But what I've noticed is a lot of these brothers don't really, so they'll give and they'll pour off into a woman before the woman has actually earned their respect. And they kind of look for the payment on the end. They're looking for reciprocation on the end when it was never earned in the first place, if that makes sense. And so that becomes, okay, so let's just say you're starting off with a kid. The kid is bullied and picked on, and nobody ever really gave a damn about the kid. The kid ends up fucking being fucked up mentally. They grow up to be grown men.
Mm-hmm.
And then with these grown men turn into something. And let's just say they focused and they took care of themselves. They did what they were supposed to do. Um, but then they're still not getting the respect from women that they feel like they deserve. And then they're pouring into the women, pouring into the women. The women are running them the fuck over. And I kind of feel like, and I don't want to say this. I hate to say this about Black women, about some of us. Some of us are some low down, dirty bitches. And it's just what
Mm.
it is. Um, we don't really want to face ourselves as a society, but I kind of feel like some of our men don't want to face their victimization either. And so,
What?
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just, being playing devil's advocate, like, women, black sisters, I don't think they see anything wrong with, dating the simps per se. Like, they don't necessarily see, the negative effects of that or why that would be a bad idea. Like, what is the negative side of that for like the Black community?
Dating simps.
Yeah.
Okay. So when women date simps and these men validate them, okay, so you have the disrespectful women. You have women that don't act ladylike. You have women that will jump in a nigga's face like it's nothing. They want to fight. They want to argue. They're combative. And then if you have Black men and Black women divided, that does not, it still defeats the purpose of community because we're divided. We're not following behind our men. We're not allowing our men to lead us. We want to lead them. We think we can tell them what the fuck to do and they need to do what we say. But
Mm.
the problem is we can't do what men can do. We're not going to go out here and pave no fucking concrete. We're not going to build anything. We're not putting up traffic
Facts.
lights. We're not trash. What do you call those people who pick up the trash and we ain't gonna do
The
that.
garbage man.
Yeah, we're not gonna them too. We're not gonna
Yeah,
do
no,
them.
that's a good point. So basically, when we as women, date these simps or we're sleeping with these simps, and generally it's because there's a benefit to the women. It's almost like encouraging that, somewhat feminine behavior that we get from, men. It's almost like rewarding that type of failed masculinity, I guess, or lack of masculinity, by, engaging in, dating and relations with these men.
Right.
That's a good point. Absolutely. You know, I think that, and I've never studied the psychology or pathology of simps and incels. What I know of incels pretty much comes from, this space and or social media. But I want to ensure, I want to make it clear for me that when I say save yourself, Black women, I am not encouraging Black women to date outside the race. I am extremely community minded, and I feel like it is to our detriment to go outside the race and think that you're going to find happiness on the other side. And that does not, in my opinion, promote community. That does not help us to heal our traumas. That does not help us to work through these unresolved issues. And I think it weakens any sense of unity that we have, which is very minimal. But it doesn't help us to repair whatever that underlying thing is that's preventing us from being unified. So when I say save yourself, Black women, I'm not saying go to another race. I'm saying focus on you, sis. I'm saying, focus on ensuring that you are completely healed. Focus on making sure that you deal with any baggage that you have. Focus on, speaking to elders, and focus on getting, your businesses together. Focus on your finances and doing things that will improve you. And maybe at the end of the day, we can come together and, we'll be improved people, and it'll make for improved community. And that's what
So
I mean when I say,
so let me
save
ask
yourself.
you this question. What do you say to the black men who say that the foundation isn't built up properly, and the problem is actually the foundation of it all? Being that we have traumas that have never been healed since slavery.
Hmm.
Black men see us one way. They felt like we traded them, for privileges, and white men. White
Hmm.
men feel, excuse me, black women feel like we were betrayed, and we weren't protected at one point. What do you say to the people that talk about the foundation? Okay, if we've dealt with all these traumas, we have this pathology. It's we have to do it for ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. What do you say about that part? Like, how does that play out to you when they say about when they talk about the foundation?
Now, I agree. I agree that we've been on a shaky foundation since, being. I'm not a believer that we were here prior to, Indians or the white man or whatever. Since being brought to this country, I feel like we've been on a shaky foundation. That I feel like our foundation is not solid, and I think that we were building on a shaky foundation, and that's why we were dismantled the way in which we were. That's why the government, and that's why the powers that be were able to come in and corrupt the black woman. They were and make give us this image of what they felt the black man is, or this monstrous image of the black man, and enabling them to come in and affect our psyche and how the black man looks at the black woman. I think that they've been kind of playing puppet master all along and pulling the strings, and they were only able to do that because there was not a strong foundation. So I agree with that, but I think that if we I think that it's a possibility. And this is far from what I've ever preached because I'm just so focused on community, but I have to think logically about this. If um in the state in which we are in, something else has to give because what we've been doing has not been working. So if that
Right.
something else needs to be us stepping away and just focusing on improving ourselves so that the generations that come after us, our grandchildren's grandchildren, have a fighting chance, so that our grandchildren's grandchildren look at the black man the way our ancestors once did, and they believe in their strength and their power and what they can do, because it's not a point in which we actually necessarily need each other anymore. Black women are able to get degrees in addition. Some are dependent upon the government. So, there's, a lot of black women feel like their only need for a black man is physical intimacy. We need to get back to our core values. We need to
Yeah.
get back to a strong foundation, moral base in which we realize that their value is much more than a sexual component. And the same thing for black men. They need to realize too, a lot of them, their view of black women is the only thing that they're good for is sex. They need to also find value in black women aside from, their physical connection with them.
Yeah, that now I feel like that's probably going to be the hard part because sex is basically at the forefront now. We're very sexualized, and um
That's the driving force. That's probably what's keeping us together. In my honest
yeah,
opinion, I think that's what's keeping us together. Because black women feel like I don't need you, and black men, you're here. I've heard black men say there's nothing that really a woman can can do for them aside from bend over their couch. You know what I mean? So they
hi
don't necessarily
Obsidian.
they don't necessarily have a feel that they have a need for women, that hey, you're just here to satisfy my wants. And I think that we've kind of lost our way.
Yeah. So you think that by both sides look seeking greener pastures, what do you think the overall result of that is going to be?
So I think that that is absolutely a good question. I think, like just saying like what would this look like? Like I said, in my research, I saw a lot of promoting of dating outside the race. And to me, that is absolutely not the answer. I don't understand what men feel as though that would how that would improve the black community. I understand, and I feel like you have to be selfish in order to put your own happiness above the good of the community. And I understand that, and I'm not knocking anyone who does. However, I don't understand. I get that Black men have felt, somewhat offended by the Black woman's autonomy. But you think going to another race of women is the answer? Who do you think they
Well,
learned that from?
well,
Like,
this is what I'm going to say about that. This is what I'm going to say about that. My wish now, if you're dating out, that's fine. Do what you do. But don't go be simps for these women when y'all, y'all don't want to be simps for us, and that's fine. But don't go be simps for other women, because what it seems to be to me, and so I've been studying like blue pill and stuff, like blue pill, red pills, and shit like that, right? And so the thing to me that's kind of interesting. Okay, men do want women to be nice to them. And I
mhm.
think that that's a big thing, because our women are mean. We don't smile.
Yeah, attitudes and all that.
Right. But these women can be smiling and they can be happy and they can be very submissive, but will cut your fucking throat
Listen,
and
that's my point.
will take all your shit.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
that's what I
not,
was about to say.
and so that's the thing that bothers me. That's
Yeah.
the thing that bothers me, because it's like, okay,
Mhm.
no problem. If you're gonna be red pill, be fucking red pill all around. Don't just be fucking red pill because we Black and they're nice. Um, these chicks will be nice. They'll be lovely. They'll be kind. And I'm not saying that they're all bad, because I don't believe that they're all bad. Just like I don't believe we're all bad. But don't go over there simping and shit. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then that's what I was about to get to. Like, you can feel slighted by Black women, their agency, but realize who they learned it from. Now, it's true that they are going to be nicer. They are much more charming in their approach, but the end result is going to be the same or even worse. Like, where do you think the Black woman's refusal to submit to, the Black man came from? Where do you think that stemmed from? Like, you can't truly believe that salvation is between the legs of women of other races. Their men are having the same complaints that you all are having, and they're getting hit harder. Now,
Hmm.
I get, and I think that part of like one of the key components is this, and I truly understand this from my brothers, and I sympathize with them, and that's why I've changed my stance on I've at least stopped to listen to and hear Black men out when they've said that they've left the community, and try to understand it, when before I would just shut it down. I think that the biggest component is lack of respect. Like,
Yeah.
men look at respect like we look at love. Like, that's one of the key things
Yeah.
that they need, what the primary thing that they need in a relationship, and they don't feel respected by the Black woman, so they're willing to go elsewhere. But I want them to just kind of look at the bigger picture and think about what the end result is going to be. But I get it. Like, I wouldn't want to be in a space where I'm not respected. I can't expect them to continually deal with the abuse, and I can't.
Right. Right. Because men are saying that they're not putting up with the shit anymore. Um, if you notice, the numbers for interracial marriages are going up. Right now, Black men are 1 in 4. Um, and I went on Obsidian's. That was Christmas Eve, I want to say, and and I'll probably catch hell for this, but I was, my whole thing is seek your fucking respect first. If you
Mm.
can't get respect out of your women and you have to do what you have to do what you have to do. But respect should be the foundation that you seek as a man, period. And before a
Excuse me.
woman is going to conform and do what you say, or allow herself to be led by you, she has to respect you first. And if the woman doesn't respect you, find somebody that
Mhm.
will. And, to me, that's
And
just the bottom line.
I yeah, I agree with that last thing that you said. I mean, for me, um I'm never ever going to encourage any of my people to leave their race for that of another. I understand, like, you know I for me, um a black woman is a black woman. So men saying, "Oh, well, I found a non-ADOS black woman." She's still a black woman. She's still a sister. I mean, I get that. So I don't personally, and this is my own personal thing. So my personal opinion doesn't matter. I'm not the one who you're laying next to at night. But personally, if you're still with a black woman, then you to me, you're still promoting um, you're still promoting the black community, and you're still helping and aiding in possibly aiding in the repair of the black community. So I don't have an issue with that, but you just won't hear me being a proponent for dating outside your race at
Let
all.
me ask you this question. Okay, so I think I've made a post about this a long time ago on my Facebook page, and it was pertaining to how most races of women have a natural respect for a man, period, right? And there's a natural respect. There's a natural bowing down to, because I think that's where their communities are not really going to tolerate a whole lot of shit, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with our community, I kind of feel like Black women feel like their respect has to be earned. And so there's not a need to bow down because we already have a system to depend on. Maybe, I thought about that. What do you think about
Well, I mean, I disagree, because I don't think that, I think that a lot that non-ADOS women, maybe
Mhm.
if you go to the continent and you find a sister, or maybe if you go to Brazil and you find a sister, like they may have, because of the way in which, their culture is, they may have a natural respect for women, but I don't think westernized people have a natural respect for the men of their race. I think that black women learned it from the white woman. I think that white women know how to finesse, and that's what we don't know
Mhm.
how to do. So they know how to make you feel respected, but they still feel as though, well, at the end of the day, I am in a leading role, but they're more charming with it. They know that you can get, more flies with honey. So
That's
that,
absolutely right. That's
that's just it.
absolutely right. And I will say, um, Black females are definitely probably the most upfront about their dark nature. We're probably the most upfront because you can see our shit.
Yeah.
We identify ourselves as a as a race of people. I feel like
Right.
we're gonna let you know we're a hood rat. Off top. You're gonna be able to see we're a hood rat. So
Yeah.
um I'm getting ready to drop the link. Are you
Yeah, I think
ready?
that's a good idea. Go ahead and open it up. But I just want to say one last thing while you're doing that.
Okay.
I want us to, like, just giving an example, and of course, this may not be a relatable example because of the amount of money he has, but like, if we go off the premise that I found attached to this hashtag, Kanye saved himself. And now he's heavily medicated, docile, walking around looking like a clone, no backbone. I think that very strong black men, which are the black men that I know, the black men in my circle, my father, my partner, my brothers, like, I don't think that they would be tolerated by going to another race, because their strength is too dominant. It enters the room before they do. Yeah, I think that non-ADOS black women would respect that. I think that that's probably what they are used to. But I think that a lot of times when you go to the other side, they want you to be like dang near a fairy, like they want you have to, they don't want you to be very opinionated. That in order for you to fit in, there are going to be some things that you have to give up.
Okay.
And I've heard that, like, from black men. I think it was Chris that was on O'Shea's channel. He admitted that, like, he can't listen to the music that he likes, that, like, he had to give up some things, and he left the place that he knew as home and moved to, West Bumblefuck with this woman. And he said he had to give up a lot of parts of himself. You know what I mean?
Oh shit. Bam, bam, and bam. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Hey,